In today's video, we're giving MX vs ATV Legends a review. This game has been out for about 2.5 years now. It released in June of 2022, and it is now November 2024, so about 2.5 years. And I believe this game is pretty much or very close to its ceiling, so I think now is the perfect time to give it a review. If I made this video 2.5 years ago when the game released, you guys may know I thought this game was horrible, it was not good, but now 2.5 years later, a lot of things have changed. So in this video, we're going to go over some positives and some negatives, and then give it an overall score out of 10. So without further ado, let's get into this review, boys. So first I want to talk about the positives that the game has to offer. The first one is graphics. I believe Legends is made on Unreal Engine 5, and as you can see from the screenshots and gameplay, compared to any other motocross game, hands down Legends is the most beautiful, most gorgeous, best looking motocross game we have ever had, and I don't think there really is an argument. It is just so sexy, you cannot deny that. Whether you're racing in the morning, afternoon, at night, in the snow, during the rain, it does not matter. This game just looks amazing. And you don't need mods or shaders to install to make the game look better. It just simply looks amazing. The next positive is customization. There is so many different helmets, boots, gear sets, gloves, goggles, bike graphics. If you want to look like Roxon, wear a Red Bull helmet. If you want to look like Hampshire or Stewart, wear a Rockstar helmet. If you want to look like Jason Anderson, wear a Monster Energy helmet. Or if you want to look stupid as hell and have fun, wear the pumpkin, wear the Santa hat. Or if you want to look like some of the real life riders, you can buy the KTM or Kawasaki DLC, etc. And you can use their real life graphics and their gear sets. So it's pretty cool. And if you see this little brush symbol next to an item that you're selecting, that means you can fully customize the color of whatever you're customizing, whether it's a helmet or a gear set. So we're not just stuck with like 2 or 3 colors for each gear set. You can customize it in any way you want. And if you're customizing your bike, if you want, you can have no damn plastics. You can have a floating seat for, well, because why the hell not, right? Or if you want to change the color of your tire, you can, because why the hell not? It's MX vs ATV. This is why we love this game. The goofiness of the customization is incredible. There's so many different options to choose from. And if you want to make your number plate yellow, or red, or green, or pink, or blue, or black, whatever the hell the case may be, you can. That's why the customization in this game is the best we've ever had in any motocross game, hands down. The next positive has to be the amount of DLC and content that Legends has to offer. MX vs ATV games usually always have incredible DLC and a lot to offer. And with Legends, it's no different. They have Pro Motocross DLC from 2022, 23, and 24. The Real Life Supercross tracks from 2024, the Slade Ground DLC, Pit Bikes DLC 500 DLC. They have Reflex tracks like Sandwick, Pine Top, and Sugar Ridge. They just recently brought back Boxcar and Fort Dodge from Reflex. And there's all kinds of other DLC as well. This game just has so much content and DLC for it. And if you just have the base version of the game, I recommend buying the 2024 track pass. That way you get the Pro Motocross tracks, and the Supercross tracks, and the Reflex DLC tracks as well. And they're all fairly cheap. Like, even if you want to buy some of the bikes, they're only like $3 or $4, so you can't really go wrong. The DLC is great in this game, and I highly recommend you try it if you haven't already. I know I'm going to keep saying this, but Legends probably has the best DLC we've ever seen in a motocross game, at least from my memory. I think it does. It is just going to be super hard to get bored with this game because of how much content it does have. It's not like Supercross and MXGP games where they don't get DLC or updates or new tracks, etc. Legends, MX vs ATV, the DLC is incredible, and there's just so much of it you can never, ever get bored. Now the next positive has to be the weather effects. They didn't add this until about 1.5 years-ish after the game came out. They've been in the game now for a bit over a year. We were introduced to dynamic rain, and obviously with the thunder and lightning sound effects and visuals, it looks incredible. The rain just looks so good. I remember when they first put out this update, I pretty much just did every single track I could in the rain for like a week straight because it was just so incredible to look at, and it was super fun. Now you can't do rain on any Supercross tracks, I don't believe, unfortunately, which is a bit of a bummer. But on all the Pro Motocross tracks and a good amount of the regular tracks, you can do rain, which is really cool. There's also nighttime, so if you want to race, I don't know, on a certain Pro Motocross track at night, you can. Or a certain national track at night, you can. And we also have snow, which I believe was introduced a bit after the rain came out, if I'm not mistaken. And if you just go on the Southwick Invitational, put it on snow, it looks so damn incredible. The fact that we can even do races on some of the regular tracks in snow is really cool. It wasn't necessarily a thing they needed to add, but it was a great feature. It's really fun, adds more replayability, and the snow just looks incredible. Like, just go on Southwick Invitational, do a few laps, it just looks so clean. And the snow and rain is really where the visuals shine in Legends, and you can just tell how good this game does look. The next positive I want to talk about is online servers. Pretty much any other motocross game out there just has garbage servers, whether it's the MXGP, Supercross games, MX bikes, they all just are very laggy and inconsistent. But surprisingly, I was actually shocked when MX vs ATV Legends, I played it, even though it is hard to find online lobbies on PC sometimes during the day. But the online servers are actually pretty good. I didn't notice any sort of lag or glitching around with other riders. They seemed to do nothing crazy. You didn't see anybody fly across the track whenever they crashed or whenever they lagged. I will say that the guys that are racing online on PC are very quick, and I was able to get a couple wins somehow. But online is actually really fun. I'm usually just a single player guy, but online races, once in a while, they're just super fun to do for a couple hours. It gets very competitive, and it also does increase your skill set playing online. And the fact that the servers are great means it's fun, because I've played online games in the past, like motocross wise, where the servers are just laggy and not fun. That is one of the reasons why I haven't really played online for a while on these games, just because I never really had good servers. But Legends has good online servers. Now, I don't have bad internet. I have actually pretty good, decent internet, so I don't know if that's something that matters or not. So maybe if anyone has shit internet, you can tell me if it's good or not. But from my experience, even with the good internet on other games, the servers can be bad. But Legends, it's fun, online's great, and I think you guys should give it a shot. The next positive, and I can't believe I'm saying this, is the bike sounds. As everybody probably knows, Legends and like All Out have had some of the worst bike sounds we've ever heard in a motocross game. But just about a month ago, they finally updated them, changed them. They actually made them the Alive bike sounds, or Supercross Encore, whatever you wanna call it. Doesn't matter, they're the same sounds. And they were just so much better than the original Legend sounds that we had. Miles better. It's not even close to a comparison. They did tweak them a couple weeks ago again to make them sound a bit better. I still think they need to polish them just a bit more, because sometimes it feels like the bike sound changes a bit too much, and it sounds like it's shifting a bit too much as well sometimes. I think they do need to change that, and they also need to fix the rev limiter just a little bit. So a bit more polish needs to happen, but the bike sounds right now as it stands, they're good. And I've seen people online saying that the bike sounds, the new bike sounds suck, they aren't it. And I don't understand what some people are complaining about anymore. Like, what are you talking about? These bike sounds are good. The next positive I want to talk about is these scrubs and whips. I'm going to say it right now, Legends has incredible scrubs. Almost comparable to Reflex, like they're that good. The whips are a bit behind Reflex, but the whips are still incredible. They feel nice, they look nice. The scrubs, again, look nice, feel nice. And you can change the dead zone of them if you want them to react quickly or a bit delayed to your inputs on the controller. So I like that they have that setting so you can tweak the scrubs and the whips to be a bit slower or quicker depending on your liking. But man, they just really don't get boring at all. It's like Reflex throwing whips and scrubs. They just look incredible and they feel so nice. Once you get it down, you can definitely decrease your lap times by staying super low. And man, they look so good. They look clean. Whether you hate this game or love this game, you can't really deny that the whips and scrubs look and feel awesome. I thought that when the game came out, they were decent. But now, 2.5 years later, they've really improved them, and I think they should just leave them the way they are right now. I think they're perfect, and they don't need to be touched at all. Whips and scrubs, I love them. Now it's time to move on to the negatives that I want to talk about. The first one, I personally am not a huge fan of the cornering in this game. I think it is very heavy. The only way to do tight turns, obviously, is just to spam the front brake or rear brake. If you don't turn without the brakes, usually your guy's just going to understeer off the track or something like that. And the only way to rail berms in this game is let off the gas and fully turn in your sticks. From my experience, if you are on the gas turning, you're just gonna go wide understeer everywhere. The cornering definitely takes a bit to get used to. Like I said, you gotta use your brake slot to turn nicely in this game, letting off the gas and fully turning your sticks in. I just think the cornering is way too heavy. Yes, you can change bikes up to maybe fix it a little bit, but then it might make the traction way too slippery. Myself, I've gotten used to the cornering, so I'm not too bad at it anymore. But once in a while when I come back to this game, play it after a few months, I'm not touching it, the cornering definitely feels way too heavy in my personal opinion. So I think that is definitely a negative for sure. The next negative I have to talk about easily is the AI. Since day one, the AI have been so damn slow, even on the hardest difficulty. They're just nowhere to be found in this game. You can practically play this game with your nuts and you'll probably still end up winning the race. The AI are just that bad. There is once in a blue moon where it feels like on some tracks, on some days, they can kind of hang within 7-8 seconds of you, but pretty much every track, every race, you're going to beat them by 30 seconds on a 3-lap race. They really aren't very good at all. And they are often very annoying to race because you just get stuck to them if you touch them. And for myself, I'm a single player guy. I like playing just against the AI. I just like to relax a bit more. But the AI, I don't see them in the races because usually you get the whole shot, and if you don't, you're by them in a few corners. It is kind of sad to see because in like old games like MX Unleashed or whatever, or the old MX vs ATV games, AI was actually very good and competitive. But in Legends, they are definitely very shit. They have updated them, I think like over a year ago now, to improve them, but they're still just super far off the pace on pretty much every single track in the game. Now the next negative I want to talk about is the clutch spam. Now I'm not sure if this has something to do with setup, skill, whatever the case may be, but I feel like Legends, you just have to hit the clutch so damn much. Now I know MX vs ATV has obviously been notorious for just spamming in the clutch and stuff like that, but I feel like Legends, it is just way more than it used to be. Every time you shift, you have to hit the clutch. Coming out of the corner, hit the clutch at least once or twice. Landing, hit the clutch. Going through the whoops, hitting the clutch. It just often gets very annoying having to hit the clutch, 300 times in a 3-lap race. And I think the main reason why I do need to hit the clutch a lot is because, again, the cornering is very heavy. The acceleration is often very slow with this game. I do like how powerful the clutch is, but then at the same time, I don't want to have to use it every 2 seconds. It just gets a bit annoying. I know in previous games you'd have to use the clutch a lot, but not to the extent that it is in Legends. That might be a bit of a nitpicky thing, I don't know. And you desperately need to use it every 2 seconds to really keep your momentum going in this game. So personally, I just hate the clutch spam in this game. The last negative I want to talk about is the fact that if you want to have a FPS higher than 60 on PC, the scrubs and gameplay and stuff like that is just very slow and it's not as responsive and quick. I'm going to put up a couple clips right here. So let's say you have an FPS of under 60. As you can see, the scrubs and whips are very quick, very clean. But then if you up the FPS to above 60 or whatever, the scrubs are just super slow and delayed. And I mean like mind-boggling slow. It's very noticeable. So basically, if you're on PC and you want to run in a high FPS, you're basically at a huge disadvantage everywhere on the track. I don't personally recommend it. The game looks very smooth and obviously amazing in a higher FPS. But if you go above 60, you're going to struggle and you're going to be a lot slower. I didn't figure this out for probably over a year after the game came out. And the devs do know about this problem. I don't know if they can fix or if they will. I think they're still trying, obviously. But obviously, there's not as many people on PC, so it's not as much of an issue. But for people like myself that are on PC, want to run in a high-ass FPS, it's just not a good idea because you put yourself at a disadvantage. I think that's like a game-breaking bug that should not be in the game, personally. Now the last negative I want to talk about with this game is the traction or the bike setup, whatever, either or. I really hate the fact that you don't have a good amount of traction in this game. And if you're changing your bike setup, you either can have good handling and shit traction, or you can have good traction and shit handling. Personally, I don't think that type of thing should be in an MX vs ATV game. I think we should have a lot of traction and you should be able to corner at the same time. I hate having to change the bike setup from each bike I go to and just either make it have good handling or have good traction and just sacrifice one. Oftentimes it really just pisses me off. And it's honestly kind of tricky to find a good bike setup in this game, which I guess is cool, but I'm not playing a simulator. I don't want to have to adjust my bike setup like crazy to really enjoy the game. And I often find myself just getting so pissed at sliding off the track or understeering off the track. If I take a break and come back to this game after a couple months, I really notice how heavy the handling is and how much you can slide everywhere sometimes without the proper bike setup. And even with the proper bike setup, you're either sliding off the track or you're understeering off the track. It's one or the other. There's no really in between fine line. Yes, the more you play the game, you can get used to it and get better at it, but I still think we need more traction and better cornering. So that is my MX ATV Legends review 2.5 years later after the game's release date. A couple things that I didn't necessarily talk about is like first person, which I think is really good in this game. And the tracks are pretty decent in this game, even the stock ones. There's only a couple ones that aren't really great. But overall, out of 10, I'm going to give MX ATV Legends a 7.5 out of 10. I think the handling is a bit too heavy and the traction is just not enough. And for me, that's what brings this game down. I was tempted to give it an 8.5 or a 9, but after playing the game more, I honestly found myself getting a bit pissed off and annoyed at the handling. Everything else about the game is honestly very good. If they just fixed the handling and gave us more traction, this game could probably be at a 10 or a 9.5. It has a lot of content, good graphics, so you're not really ever going to get bored. Online is super fun, tracks are good. Overall, this game is very fun, and it's not a full price like a $100 game, so that's not too bad. I have over 150 hours on the game, and if you have never played this game before, I recommend it. But I'd say the first 5 hours or so might be a bit of a learning curve, which is not something we're really used to with arcade games. So would I recommend Legends? Yes. And that's basically all I have to say. I'm not going to keep rambling and repeating myself. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what your opinion on Legends is down below. And other than that, that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed, and take care.